Hello and good afternoon. I am 5 minutes early, but I thought it would give you all a chance to get sorted and ready so that we can make a good start just after 2. So, forgotten my phone already. I knew there'd be something. Right, back again. Let's have a look. There we are. Okay, that's good. So some of you are here already. Hello Jill and John and Phyllis. Always have to think what your name is there, Phyllis. Princess, I should say. And we are off, says Rena. And hi Bridget, hello Carol, Amanda and Susan and Linda. There I am, yes. I thought I'm not going to be able to see any comments for a little while, so I thought I needed my phone, put it on charge and forgot to bring it through, but never mind. Hello Patricia, hello Gita, and a few more coming. So I've started just a little bit early, so that hopefully it gave you a notification that we were starting, and we have got a fair bit to do this afternoon, so I thought the sooner we got cracking, the better. So we'll wait until there's a few more here. Hi Gita, hello Kim, hello Jane. Oh dear. I hope he gets better soon. You can change your needle, Christine. Well done. I thought about that. I changed it on another machine this morning, but not this one. Hello Shirley, hello Maria. Raring to go, fantastic. I don't know how many. Hi Jill, thank you for what you did for me. Hello Liz, hello Leslie. And I hope Marilyn can get here. I did put a special message out there with the link to here in the Sew Trisha Sews group. Hello Isabel, hello Lane. And in the Sew with Trisha group and in the group that she was commenting. So hopefully she will have found it. Hello Elaine, hello Kirsten, hello Patricia. 4 large and 2 small. Oh my goodness. You're doing one more than me then. Brilliant. Hello Sue, hello Susan. Oh, you're down at the marina. Oh, lovely. Lovely. Thank you, Jill. You are a lifesaver. 2 seam rippers with Bridget. I've got mine, yes, at close hand, but I'm sure you won't need it today. Hello Elaine. Oh good, chocolate crispies at the ready, fantastic. Well, I thought, yes, we'll wait until just a few more are here, but I thought we'd have a couple of little breaks in between. So hi Jack, hello Karen, you're all ready, have to leave early and catch up. Okay, that's fine. Haven't got back to your email yet, but we'll sort that out. Don't start posting anything yet though, Karen. Okay. Yes, so order of play. I thought we have got 5 projects. Quite a tall order, however. We've got a lot of it started already. And I thought perhaps we'll do the first 2 and then have a little break. And then we'll do another 2 and we'll finish up with the last one. Hello Raina, hello Sharon, hello Kathleen. Yeah, so if I wait till we've got a sort of 40-ish here, it's only 1 minute past 2, so pretty good. But I thought if we get started at about 5 past, we should be well on our way to, hi Jane, to actually achieving what we want to do. I'm thinking it may take about 3 hours, but if you have to go, not a problem, because the video will be left in the group for you to go back to and look at whatever you want, whenever you want, forever. So, I've no doubt I should have forgotten something, but I've been preparing my little space and getting bits and pieces together so that we can run it as smoothly as possible. So I thought you should all, I sent the emails out probably before 8 o'clock this morning. So hopefully you all have that email, and that it's all in one, but there's the five projects all in there in one PDF. And I shall do it in the order that we have in the PDF. So hi Yvonne, hello Carol. You're ready but not staying along. Oh, that's all right, no problem. No problem at all. Hello Virginia. Yes, so there's about half of you here, and I know not all of you will be able to watch live anyway. Hello Sue. That's fine when you can find your zips in a row. Somebody else's are all packaged up because of her moving around and decorating, Jack, aren't they? But never mind, never mind. Or was it Carol? Another Carol? I don't know. Hello Dorothy. Absolutely fine. You didn't pack the sewing machine. Oh, never mind. You can't take everything with you, can you? Hello Anne. I know I would really, if I went on holiday, I would really miss my sewing machine. I'd have to go and buy something, I think, while I was wherever I was. Right. So let's just start while a few others appear. So you know exactly what we're going to be doing. The choice is yours as to whether you do small or large. I'm starting off with a large one, but I'm starting off with a large one, but the rest of mine are small. It will make no difference. It's a little bit smaller. Some of the seams will be a little bit shorter, but you'll get the same end results, just in a different size. Oh, do you know, I can feel my flu jab today. Never mind, it's not too bad. So we are going to start first of all with our boxy pouch, the basic one. We're then going to go on to I've called it a boxy gift bag. There's that one there. We are then, I can't remember what came next, you know. That was number 2, was the boxy gift bag. Number, that is there. Oh, boxy pouch with handle. So number 3 will be this one, which I've squashed up a little bit. Number 3 is this. Oh, there's Sharon and Rhonda as well. Hello when you arrive. Number 4 is the one with the nice pleated ends. This one makes it look a little bit different. That's number 4. And number 5 is this one here. I called it the lidded pouch because we've got a shorter bit above the zip and a longer bit below, and you can put tabs in there if you want to, or leave them out like I have on this one. Okay, so there's my small one, and that hasn't got tab on there. Okay, so the choice is yours, and you can mix and match as you go. So who else have we got there? Oh, there's Sharon. Oh, don't worry, don't worry. I think I've sent the PDF through to you. I'm not sure, but if not, I will. I have put a little post in the group asking you to comment. Please let me know if you did not receive the PDFs. So I did delete all the comments, I think, because I just wanted you to put there if you had not received it, and all of you are saying you had. Okay, you're looking forward to it, Kathleen. That is wonderful. Okay, so yes, we are just over the half. So what do you think? I tell you what, I'll say, so that you don't have to type all the time. If you just put hello Susan, if you just put a like or a love or a happy face, you know, like, love, happy face. I have got my phone here so I can see any questions you might ask as we go. Hopefully you won't want me to start. I thought I'm bound to get somebody say, oh, how do we actually start? But the actual starting is in a video that we did on Thursday, the live then, which was starting all of, here are mine, I have 1, so you should have 5 similar to this, whatever size, what's fallen over, whatever size they might be. So I've got 1, oh, and I've folded those differently, but 2, 3, 4, 5. So don't worry about the fact that here I've just held them together with the zip here, because it may change as to where. So this is what I'm going to start with first. I've only just held it together with a clip there just for the sheer hell of it. But you will soon learn that you can place that zip wherever you like. Oh, it was my phone fell over. Okay. Oh, okay. Pop your name, Susan, because I won't be able to go back through all this, I don't think. In this group where you're watching the live, there is a post there saying, have you not received it? So if you put your name under that post, that would be fantastic, and then I'll send it through afterwards. You won't actually need it now, but I thought you'll be all asking me, where's the PDF, where's the PDF, so I've sent it out to you. Okay, Susan, sorry about that. Good afternoon, Karen. Okay, so the only other thing you may need, it depends whether you want to bind the seams or if you're just going to zigzag the seams, but you might need some strips. I've cut a few here, 1.5 inch strips. I used widths of fabric before, so I hope I've got enough bits there, but I can always cut a few more. I was intending, just for quickness, to zigzag the seams, but it means moving to another machine, and it was playing up on me this morning, which was really, really irritating. But never mind, I think I've sorted it now. And it meant a new needle, 2 new needles actually. I went for a 90, and it didn't like it, so I went back to a Schmetz 8012, and it's working fine. Well, fingers crossed it is. I've never had that sort of problem before, and I thought, I can't believe this is happening to me. I really can't. Okay, so are you happy to begin? Thank you, Susan. So a few likes or a few hearts just to say you are ready to begin. Hopefully I shall see those coming somewhere. If you have, lovely, there's a few there. I think we are ready to begin. Jolly good. So I did say about having a pen and a ruler handy. So what has Trisha done? She hasn't got her pen and ruler. I've got my ruler ready now. Have I got a pen? Yes, I have got a pen. Okay, pen and ruler at the ready. Okay, let's put those out of the way. I happen to have, just so that I don't have to keep moving around, fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. I've got my little mini iron there, not my Tula Pink, and a pressing mat. Now, if you bought one of the seam rollers, we haven't got that much pressing to do, but it's just when we've got a little handle, that's when I'll be doing it. So grab your seam roller if it's easier than having an iron on nearby. Okay, so we'll put those there. So the first thing we are going to do, take your very first one, whether it be large or small. I'll try and remember different, because we're cutting squares out of the different projects. I'll try and remember to say whether it's large or small as to what, well, if I'm reading the instructions, I should be okay, shouldn't I? So, ruler, you will need your ruler and pen and a pair of scissors on this occasion. So, let's go down, perhaps we'll go down to the mat, and, or shall we go to the edge here? No, let's go to the table here. I think you can see it that little bit better. Okay, so although we have got clips on here, I'm actually going to take them off because we don't need them at present. Now, if you are using the small ones, what I would do, and I'll do it with one of these small ones here, what I would do, let's take those off, because we need to find, we want to centre on this one the zip right down the middle. If you pull your this is the small one only. Okay, pull your zip to one side and put your finger with the lining lined up, whoops, like so. That's it, I'm too high up there, aren't I? Let's pop it down there. So we've got the zip with the coil at that side, pull it like that, and then we can clip just the tiniest little notch like that, and that is going to give us a little V just there, which will show that it is the center point. And then I'm going to do exactly the same at the other end, have the zip coil right on the front, pull that together, and at that fold, just the tiniest little clip. Okay, so that is if you are doing a small one, and then from the reverse, you can line that little clip with the center of our zip. So I'm going to put that down because the first thing we're going to do though is to turn it to the wrong side. So let's just open the zip because that's easiest and turn it to the wrong side. Okay, and then we can do that zip up. If you have already snipped these off, which I hope you haven't, you'll be fine. You can just pull that zip through. And then with the larger one, all you need to do is line up your seams from the lining and the outer fabric with that notch. So I'm just lining that up there, and then I'm lining that seam with the notch. And you see that is lined up just there. So then what I'm going to do, just to hold that, I'm going to see if I can make my lining and my outer fabric line up. Let's just pull that one through there. And then we can put some clips or pins just to hold that together. I'm just going to pull this up just a little bit because I can see that there's more lining at the other end. That's it, keep that lined up there and pull that together, and we'll pop a clip somewhere along there just to hold that together. And then we're going to do exactly the same at this other end. So just pull that open. If once you've got your lining and your outer level at the other end, it should be level at this end as well. If there's a little extra fabric, you can just pull that until you haven't got the extra fabric. And then again, let's just pop the clip on there just so that we've got everything centered how we want it to be. So that's what yours should look like now, with the outer fabric showing on the outside. So the first thing on the on the instructions, it does say snip off the excess zip. So what we're going to do, we're not going to snip it off yet. We're going to make sure, I said open the zip to halfway. Okay, so I can just move that. The first thing we need to do is open that zip. Let's take that off to make it easier. Open that zip to halfway. You could do it from this other side now if you want to. Right, so I've opened that up, and then when you lay it back down, I kept one of my clips on. Just make sure the zip coil is right next to each other, and then we can just replace that zip there. Okay, now you can, if you want, just hold that together with another binding clip, but we're going to be fine because all we're going to do now is to stitch across both ends the whole way. So let's just move that little bit out there, just smooth it out, and then I'm going to use just a 1/4 inch seam, as I always do, and I'm going to have about a 2.5, so just your default setting. And I am going to reverse at the beginning, but it doesn't really matter because that bit's going to be clipped off. So I'm just holding that zip together close to, there we go, holding that zip together, and I can take that one off because I'm just going along here over the zip coil. Go a little bit slower across there, and then we can take the other one off and stitch all the way across. Oh, that's all right, Alison, don't worry, don't worry. And then I've swiveled it around to the other end, and I'm going to do exactly the same there. So this end, the zip is not open, so we can just leave that as it is. Take that off and go across to the other side. And so I've just reversed a bit there. Okay. Oh, that wasn't very good on there. I don't know if you can not see it. Right, so I just stitched across one short end and across the other short end. There we go. So now, at this point, we can cut off this excess zip. So, across there. There's one bit gone. Just double check that your zip is here in the middle, because we don't really want to clip off our zip pull. It can be threaded on, but it might not be the easiest, or it'll just be frustrating. Have a check on the other side just to make sure you've got all the seam allowance in there, that it's stitched everything. Are we okay so far? That's it, that's all right. Oh, I saw something come through at the top. Don't know if Marilyn is here yet, whether that was that. Okay, we're all right. Okay. So the next thing we need to do, and it's probably easier to look from this side, this being the side where the zip is. So we are going to draw into each corner. We are going to draw a square. Now, if you're making the big one, I'm going to do 1.5 inch squares. You can do the same with the small one, and it will just be chunkier and a little bit smaller. Or with the smaller one, you can do a 1 inch square there if you like. Now, the main thing you need to do, so I'm doing the big one, and I go in a little bit closer so you can see here, my 1.5, I'm lining up from the stitched line. So I'm not taking my ruler to the edge, I'm going to the stitched line, and then my 1.5 is on the fold. So it will look like a rectangle when it's drawn. And where have I put my pen? Is just there. So on each of the 4 corners, 1.5. I usually do it like this, don't I? Let me do it round this way. So 1.5. There is my 1.5. So my 1.5 line is on my stitch line. Can you see that just there? And then I'm just going to draw there. And I'll take it around here. And again, my 1.5 line on the ruler is on my stitching. Let's move that up a little bit. And my 1.5 line is on the folded edge. And we'll just draw there. Doesn't matter whether you have a friction pen, water-soluble pen, or just like I've got a marker, because you're not going to see this anyway. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1.5 on the line of stitching and on the fold of the fabric there. It just means, whoops, I'm not holding that very well, that's better. Just means that when we come to stitch across these cut out corners, they line up so much better. Okay, so can you see that I have there? I have the 4 corners, 1.5 inches. As I say, if you're doing the smaller one, if you want to, you can make yours just 1 inch square. And then when we've got that, I'm just going to cut those squares out. So 1, up into that, just there. Don't want to clip too far. 1, 2. Okay, 2 and 3. I haven't come up with a use for these cut out bits yet. I'm sure there is one. Just trim that a little bit not. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you can vary your pouches by cutting out a different size. So even with this larger size where we used 2 pieces of fabric rather than just 1, if you were to cut a 1-inch square here, it would make your pouch even bigger. If you were to cut a 2-inch one, it would make it squat, so it would be wider, but it would be less deep. But yes, you can vary to see what different shapes you can make just by altering the size of the square. Okay, I wonder how many of us are actually sewing along with me. But the next thing we are going to do, have we all got our pieces cut out? Anybody got there? Are we ready for the next bit? Because now we are jolly good. Looks as though we are. So, what we're going to do now is fantastico. I'm going to show you how to bind the seams. And then, as I say, if you don't want to bind them and you just want to zigzag across here, what I would actually do is just trim this back just slightly and then zigzag all the way across, and we're doing, each end of the zip. So this end and this end. Ready, jolly good. Okay, so almost there. So once we have so you can either use bias binding, or you can use strips of fabric. I've cut mine 1.5 inches wide, and I've just got some calico here. If you're making your own, you could use the same fabric, or you could use a contrast, as I say, bias binding, or it's just as easy with a strip of fabric. Now these two, when I put my my strip of fabric onto here, it doesn't need to be, this first two can just be exactly the same size as the width that we're going to bind. So I don't actually cut it. I'm just going to pop that on the top and line that up here, line that up on the edge, and I'm just going to stitch with a 1/4 inch seam across to the other side. So let's just go across there, and then when I feel I've got to the end, I'm just going to cut that to size. This way I don't waste any fabric. So as you can see, I've just got one piece that is the same width as that piece there. And then I'll do the same thing with this end. So I'm going to put my strip of fabric up to the end there, line it up with that raw edge. I think because it's such a short strip, you don't really need to put pins in there, but if you would like to put pins in there, that is absolutely fine. Okay. And I haven't reversed at each end either. And then we'll just trim that off there, and I've got a little bit left there. So I have got my fabric this side and that side. Okay, are you with me so far? So let's start at this end. So once we have done that, we want to, I think in the instructions I said turn it over, or you can just nail press that away from the zip first of all. Then I find it easiest to flip it over, because what we're going to do now is fold this raw edge up to the edge of that end of the pouch. So pop that up to there with your seam roller or your little iron, but I can just use my nail to press that. Okay, so I've just pressed that folded edge up to the edge there, and then we're going to fold that over. Okay, and just by folding that over, I'll put a couple of clips to hold that together, and I'll do the same with the other end. So flip that over, bring that one over, and I say we'll nail press or seam roller it. Just get those little bits out of the way. So I just brought that away from the seam, and then we can flip that over, and then again take that raw edge there, fold that in so that it just meets the edge. You can just about see the wadding or the fusible fleece. So I'm just finger pressing that little bit there, and then we're going to lift it up, and I'm bringing that edge just so it's on the edge of the pouch end, and we will do the same. Just put a clip on there and the clip on there. So I've got both ends done, and now all I'm going to do is just stitch across. So if I still use my 1/4 inch seam allowance, that should go exactly along where I stitched the two layers together. So are you with me? Go to cut some fabric. Okay. Yes, the edges are raw. The edges are raw. So it's like that little bit there. I've just cut a 1.5 inch strip with a raw edge. Absolutely fine. You would possibly get away with 1.25, but I think 1.5 gives you room for a little bit of movement, if you like. So having got my two ends there, as I say, all I'm going to do is take that to the machine, and I'll take that clip off, and then I'm going to put my foot on there, and I'm just going to, I'll take this one off as well. And when you lift it up, if you can see that your binding is over the top of, whoops, that's it. If it's over the top of your original stitch line, we are fine. So I'm just stitching along there, and I've got the outside of my foot lined up with the edge. Okay, so there is my first end just done. Oh, hello, Linda. Oh, yes, I blame the Aurora too. Don't worry, if you watch later, it will be in this group, so it's not a problem at all. So I'm just switching it around to the other side, and I'm going to take that off first of all, and I'm just going to start stitching again. So take the other end off, and I have my 1/4 inch seam. Okay, so there I have both of my both ends are now nice and neat. So are we okay? I'll let you just get those two bindings on. I just think it makes it a little bit quicker if you do both at the same time, and then you're just ready to just stitch. So let's see. So having done those are by far the easiest, because we just did it exactly the same length as that bottom edge, which, or let's flip it that way. So it's the bottom of the zip on each one. So we've just bound that exactly the same. Oh, that's good. Somebody's ready. You're ready as well. Virginia's ready. Jolly good. So the next little bit is really, really similar, except when we have our strips, we need them to be lovely. Great, Sue, thank you. So when we do this, we just need them a little bit long because there's slightly different technique, very, very slightly. So you know what we do normally with our cutout corners. We put our fingers in the middle, pull it open and flatten. Okay, so what I usually do, definitely, I just pulled that about now, is I do put a clip at the middle. So if you pull at those ends, flatten it in the middle, and that should line up, and then pop a, now I want actually that seam, your seam can go whichever, but I think it's better going downwards because the zip's coming down there. So have that seam that we just did coming down, and I'm just making sure all that is lined up nicely. So with our fingers in the hole, we can then pop that down, that's it. And then clip or pin over there to hold it together. And then even pop another one at each end, just to hold that. So you can either go around and do that exactly the same on each end. So as I'm at this end, I may as well do this one here. Let's just turn that over and then finger into that hole and flatten it in the middle so that there, that went down really nicely. You can see that that then all lines up, and you can see this binding that we've already done needs to go flat facing downwards. So just bring that to there, and then we can put a clip over there to hold it, and we can put a clip on there and on there. So that's just one end. We'll do one end to start off with, and we'll put our binding on here. So I've got a little bit here that's already cut. So this time, what we're going to do, we can do it from this side or the other side, but if we do it from this side, we want to have this about 1/2 inch longer. So if I pop that down there, I'm just going to cut it. So this one I do cut beforehand, and as I say, you want it to be about 1/2 inch longer. So there's the end of my seam, and there. So that's got enough that side. So we'll do, so it just wants a little bit coming off here. Okay, so let's just clip that. And we can pop that on the top. We'll stitch from the other side, or actually we'll stitch from underneath. So we're going to align. No, I'm going to fold it back. So you can either do it that way, but we're going to fold back those bits. So you can see it a lot better if I put it on the top and know that you've got excess fabric at each side. So when I put that on, I'm going to put that peg back on there. And then at this end, I'm going to turn back about 1/4 inch or whatever it takes to make that meet, that end meet there. And similarly at this other end, I'll take that off, fold this end back so that it aligns with, there we go, so that it aligns with the end there. So you can see that's exactly the same length across there now, but we've got 2 folded edges, which means we're going to have neat edges at this end. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch across there. I'll just flatten that one down so hopefully you can see what I'm doing. There we go. So we can take the clip off and pop that end under. And now I am going to reverse at this end because I don't want that to come undone. And I can take that centre clip off, hold my finger down to make sure all those layers are laying together. And I can see that's folded up a little bit, so I can now pull that a little bit more so that that's just folded back and not pushed up, folded back, and the same length. That's the other side. So you can see there how I folded that one back, and I folded that one back as well. Then, hi Nettie, that's okay, no problem. Okay. Oh, Marilyn's sewing already, fabulous. Right, so we've got those two little bits. So these are just where the cutout corners are, because this is the second step of neatening, where we need to fold those edges back. So just like then, the next bit is just as we did on the other sides, is we're going to fold that over. I'm just going to give that a little nail press across there so that it's totally away from that seam. Flip it over, fold these pieces back to meet that outer edge, that raw edge there. Just give that a little press and then fold that over. Can you see there? So I'll pop a clip on there. So that's holding that one. And we'll put a clip on there. So there we've got that ready for sewing, nice and neat. Okay. So then I can go back to, or just flip that over because we've got this side now. So it's nice if you can do it the same way. So let us find the other piece here. So I'm just laying that up against each other just so that I can do a trim. I'm going to need a bit more fabric as well. So we're going to put that to the back there with a little bit of excess. So take that off and then take the middle one and take the end one. And you'll be able to see there's a bit of fabric excess at each side, which is what we want. So what we're going to do is turn it around, flip that over and finger press it down so that it lines up with that corner point there. And the same here, flip that back. And now you can see that it is a little bit longer than my previous one, but it doesn't matter. So there we have two more. Nice and neat. And so now I'm just going to flatten that other side down and I'm going to stitch across there. So under the needle, give that a reverse. We can take that one off. I might take that off as well. But it does move just a little bit, and then you can fold that binding strip just back to where we want it to be. So again, there it is. And so we're going to pull that forward, nail press along there, flip it over, and then I'm going to fold that raw edge up to my raw edges. So that's nice and ready there. And then flip it over the seam, and we can pop a little clip on there and just there. So I've now got those two seams ready to stitch. So I've done them both the wrong side, but it doesn't matter which side you stitch. So now I'm just going to take this to the machine and do my 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I'm stitching my binding down. So pop that under, and we will just reverse there just to hold that really securely and stitch across. Okay, and then we can turn to the other one. I think the other one is on that side. So take off that clip, reverse, we'll start stitching and then reverse, and then we'll go across to the other side. There we are. Now I can see there's a little bit there. So if you get a little bit, try and poke that in beforehand, or as I'm going to do, I'm just going to trim that off, because that would be on the inside, so you can't see that now. And then I'm just going to trim those little bits of stray thread. There's a little bit there. That's lovely, and there, a tiny bit there, and then let's just go on this side and that side. Okay, tiny bit out hanging there. So that makes that quite neat now, doesn't it? With those two edges there, and the nice neat one in the middle. So from there, all we're going to do is exactly the same at the other side. So I will leave you to do that. I've got one more strip there. I just need one more. So let's just get my... So you want to do those 4 corners in absolutely the same way. I was going to say, fortunately for me, I have my cutting table right next to me. So I've got me 2 more strips, and I will just do these how. So here's my zip. This part here, which is the first part of binding, I'm having that folding away from the zip. So when I put my finger into my cutout corner, I want those to line up pretty well, like so. And if it moves a little bit, just move it back. And I want this to fold downwards. So that's it, I've got that there now. And this is where clips come in really handy, just to hold those pieces of fabric in place. And you see that one slipped down, so just make sure that your inner fabric. So what we can do is open the zip up a little bit further, and then you can get your finger in there to push that fabric up. Because what we don't want, there we are, what we don't want is to turn it to the right side and we haven't caught one of the fabrics. I'm just lining that up. That's, oh, there we are. That's better. That is lined up now. And that's why having a, I mean, in the past I have just done it without lining it and just stitching, and then it's like, got to unpick. So I'm going to do this one. I've got 2 more to do, haven't I? So let me do 1, 2. So I'm just roughly, I know that that is longer than my seam. So while I'm doing 1, I may as well do 2. So I have 2 here. And I'm going to pop that to the back, like so. Take my clip off, and at that end too. Let's bring that up, and then turn it around to the other side, fold that bit back and clip it back. And then I could leave that now until I get to the end and then fold it as I stitch, or you could clip that there now. So I'm just going to stitch that one first of all. So let's flatten that down, like so. Yes, you can see, hopefully you can see. Oh no, that bit's sticking up there. So I'll take the clip off. And then, see, I didn't fold it, but I can fold it back now, because that fabric is now, that's it. That fabric is just, so it's uneven, but that doesn't matter. So pull it forward, nail press across there, flip it over, fold it in half. Now I can see, and you might see that, there's a little bit more fabric sticking out there, so I'm just going to trim that away so that that is nice and straight across that seam. Otherwise it just pulls your binding away. So let's just clip that a little bit off there. That's better, and that gives a nice straight edge there. So I'm going to fold that back. Now that's where I can see that sticking out. So just make sure that folded back just comes in a little bit, and then you don't have it sticking out the side. Fold that back up. There we go. But I would put clips on at this point because it will just spring back. Okay. So let's pop that on there. So I've got that one ready to stitch. But while we're here, I will just pull this last cut-out corner, fingers inside, and pull out those corners, and then that is pointing downwards. So we'll pop a clip on there and at both ends, like so, before we put our binding strip on. So I could put my binding strip on here and take that back and on there, and then fold that piece back, lining it all up. I'll move that one across a little bit, and then I can do this bit when I get there. So we'll flatten that down under the machine. Now I can see already that that is going to stick out, so let's just pull that there, 1/4 of an inch as always, and then I'm just folding that back at this side as I go to get to it and stitch across. So I've got my stitch back, pull that forwards and nail press, just clip away that little bit of thread, flip it over and turn that in. I'm just finger pressing that there and fold it over. So we've got beautifully neat edges there. So 1 and 2. Okay, so then back to the machine, and we're going to go down this seam again here. So we'll start off, do a few stitches and reverse, and then I can take that clip off, just a bit like pins when I take them out just before I get there, and then we'll do this other side here. So flatten that down and straight under the machine, and across this seam as well. Okay, so let's just clip those little bits of thread away, make that nice and neat. So if you found that your 1.5 inch strips are a little bit long, sometimes like that, I just pushed that a little bit too far. I didn't, that side fine, that one is fine too. I just must have pushed that a little bit. So take all those little ends away. It is such a neat finish for the seams, isn't it? So let's just go. So I'll let you just finish those seams off, but it does look quite nice from the outside, doesn't it? Nice little neat project. So all we need to do is turn it to the right side. So I tend to push those corners at the top out first, and then on the same side push the corner down below. So I put my finger on there and just push it out, and those seams are giving the structure as well. So similarly on the other side there, and oh, there's another one just here at the bottom. Okay, and then the other one here, tuck that seam in and at the bottom, and there we have, oh boy, what a lovely pouch. A little bit of thread there. Okay, there is number 1. number 1 done and dusted. Sue, lovely, lovely. So, how are we getting on? Really, 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 yes, pleased with that. Looks really, as you say, super cute. Will we need more binding? We will. If you're going to bind all of them, yes, we will. I thought some of you might like to zigzag. I'm wanting more of these. I know. But they come together so quickly, don't they? Well done, Rena. You know, and as we did the Thursday, getting the start, you know, getting them all to this stage, you know, you could do that bit, because I bet it would only take you 5 minutes, between 5 and 10. Love the neat edges. Yes, that's great, Sharon Jane Jeter. Yeah, I knew what you meant, Sharon, don't worry. Get them all to this stage, and then you can just go and pick one up whenever you like. And this last little bit, what, 20 minutes perhaps? Done. Well done. Well done, well done. Okay, shall we, how is everybody else doing? Can I have a few, what have we got, 43 of us. I've got a little glass of water for me here. I should think you've got a cup of tea or coffee next to you, haven't you? Kirsten's done, well done, Susan. Super. You put your zip on the short side. Oh, that's all right. Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter. My zip was on the short side for my small ones. So this is where it's only one piece of fabric. You had to zigzag yours as you can't find. Yeah, absolutely fine. 1 down, 4 to go. I said to Martin I'll give him a shout, but I shall have one. I think perhaps we'll do the next one first of all. And then we'll have a, say, between 5 and 10 minute break, just for a quick coffee make it. See if he can come to me. So, what one am I doing now? Let's do one of these. Okay, so number 1 done. Very good. So, the next one we're going to do, to my mind, well done, Kathleen. You should have taken your sewing machine with you, Susan. Yes. I know, it's always nice to think, but I don't think you'd have gotten away with it, would you? Okay, let's have a look. Boxy bag we're doing with the gift handle. So I tell you what we will do. No, we'll do it in the order it says here. Now, what we've got to look for on this one. So, where is my gift one? Here. So here we are. This is what we are making. Okay. The gift bag with the little handle. You sit just there. Actually, let's just, if I put that to there, that's it. So we've got our zip up the middle and our little handle on the back, and it's got depth to it as well. So let's take I'm going to take my little clips off there, and I'm going to flatten it like my other ones were. Now, what I actually, no, which one did I do? Not that one. One of them I clipped, didn't I? Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Okay. I thought I had, never mind, I haven't. Right, so roughly, we had them like this to start off with. So this is number 2. Oh, this is the small version. Yes, Sue. Christine's finished. Fantastic. So yes, the one I've done first of all was the larger version. The rest I've got. You're still driving. Oh dear. Never mind. You can catch up later. So we're going to do this one. Little handle, little top. So this might take us a little bit longer than the other one, but not that much. Right, so we do need our zip in the centre, but like we did before, we need to do it the other way round. So let's unzip and turn to the right side, to the wrong side even. Okay, take off the clips and turn to the wrong side. Now, yeah, I wanted to make my clip. So at this point then, let's do this up. We have got, oh look, I've stitched I did these very quickly yesterday. Oh yeah, I stitched a bit of fabric to it in there. Right, so while we have it here, I'm just going to mark that centre point. So I'm just putting my finger, I've got my zip at the side, and pulling that across, and I'm just going to do a little nick, and I'm going to do it the same on this side as well. Just a little nick here, because that just shows me, because this is one piece of fabric which goes all around here, I don't know exactly where the centre is. So I'm going to, I've got my centre now, so I'm going to lay that down, pull out the fabrics together for our little tube, and I'm lining up my, undo that little notch with the centre of the zip, and that's lined up there. So I am going to pop some clips. This is along the top because this is where the zip is, the zip pull. So I can see that's not quite lined up there, so I'm just pulling that. Just make sure those, your outer fabric and your lining fabric are lined up there. And we'll pop a clip on there. Then I'll swivel to the bottom. So this is the bit we're going to be working with. I can see my notch again. So I'm just going to line that notch with the zip, and then I know that that is in the centre. So again, just pull that out, and we'll pop a clip there. Oh, let's just pull this down a little bit. I can see it's not lined up perfect. Ah, that's better. Right, so that's now lined up. So this is the bottom edge. This is where we want our, that's it. This is where we want some corners. This is where we want to make our boxy bottom, like that. So, the first thing we're going to do is stitch across the end here. So what we can do, first of all, we can snip off, let's just move that over. You can either snip that off now, or wait until we've stitched across and then snip that off. So we're going to go the whole way across there. We can open our zip, but we're not stitching the top part yet anyway. So we'll take that to the machine. Whoops. Wrong way. So to the machine, and 1/4 inch seam allowance. And we'll reverse across there. And go straight across to the other side. Okay, so now, so we're stitching across the end opposite to where the zip pull is. So now I'm going to trim that off. Okay, nice and neat bit there. Now this is where, again, we're going to need our ruler. So we are going to measure, stitch across at the cutout corners. Oh, I've missed a bit out there. Oh no, that goes there. 4, 5, 6. Yes, that goes under there. In the wrong order. That's okay. So let's just put it here. So with a ruler and your pen, you're going to mark either a 1.5 inch square in the corner or a 1 inch. On this one, because it's a smaller one, I'm going to do a 1 inch. So again, I'm lining up No, actually, I'm going to do, so this is where you have a choice. I'm going to do 1.5. I'm going to make it a bit thicker at the bottom. So I'm lining up my 1.5 with the, let me just have a look. Let's have a look on this side. You see, what I usually look at is how far the zip is away from it. So 1.5. No, I'm perhaps going to do 1 because that is fairly close to the zip. So I'm going to do 1 inch. So the 1 is in line with my stitching here and 1 inch from the fold. So that's it. There's 1 inch there. And then here, remembering always, so 1 inch on the fold, 1 inch on the stitch line, remembering always that we're at the bottom end. Okay. So this, I'm doing a small one here. You can do a large one if you'd like to. Chocolate orange. Chocolate orange would fit in here. Oh, no, it wouldn't. The large one. Let me just... Where's my large one gone? There's my large... Yes, I think it would. I haven't got a chocolate orange to hand. But... Let me just see. It's about 3 inch square. I think a chocolate orange would fit in there. Okay, so yes, I'm doing the small one. You can do whatever you would like. If you want to do the large one, it's absolutely fine. But I have on the small one, I've done a 1 inch. So on the bigger one, yes, I did a 1.5 inch. Okay, so are we all okay here? So you can be doing small or large, doesn't matter. So the small one is a 1 inch square cutout at the bottom of the zip. They are, and I have one about somewhere. The only reason I used the black markings is because I thought you could see it better on the light fabric. But I usually use my rulers, yes. Okay. So, have you cut your corners out? You're quicker than me. Right, so I'm going to cut along those markings, like so. And having made that the very first, the boxy pouch, you'll know exactly what we're going to do here. So we are going to, we have our cutouts. The first thing we did was to neaten off this bottom end here. So that is exactly what we're going to do now, neaten that off. So I have got, oh, I've got dark strips like the outside, that's okay. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do is have a strip along where the zip is, and that is, oh, mine doesn't look even. Must be, never mind. So I'm going to cut myself a strip that is just the length there, just the length of that bottom edge, and I'm going to pop that on there, align those edges, pop it under the machine, and oops, I didn't need to do that. Right, start stitching and stitch across, just like we did before. Pull that over, flip it over, raw edge to the edge of the pouch, turn it up, and either put some clips along there, or if you want to take it straight to the machine, and we can just stitch across there. So there is our base, nicely neatened, and you can guess we just finished a memory bear. Aha! And then start number 6. Well done. Okay, so that was the first thing we did. Now we need to do these cutout corners. So again, pop your finger in and pull out to those sides. I've got that seam going down again, and I'm going to pop a clip on there. So we are going to do the same along this edge as we did before. So I'm just going to put, I wonder if I'll get 2 out of this piece. Let me just fold that in half. Oh, I will. So while I've got this piece, I've got 2 corners to make. So if I take that first one, let's pop it this side. Okay. Pop that, you can see that a little bit better because it's darker. So I'm going to put that on there, and then I'm going to turn it around this way, fold that to the back. We'll put a clip on here, and then we'll fold that one in as well. And I'm just going to stitch across there. So you will probably be doing this already as I talk, because we're doing exactly the same as we did with that very first one. So start stitching across, fold that one back. And also I do reverse on that one to keep that nice and secure. I'm just pressing those seams, bring that to the front and press it over to the front again, turn that seam, give it a finger press or a seam roller press and over. Now because that is such a short seam just there, I'm actually going to just take it to the machine while I hold it and pop that underneath. Okay, so we'll reverse again there, and that one's done too. So clip that little bit off, and that bit, and those. So there's a nice neat seam again, and we're just going to do exactly the same on the other side. And that seam is already facing down, and the cutout corner has already folded itself, to be honest. That's it, we'll put the clip on there, because it does tend to spring out of the way. And then we will pop that behind the seam about halfway, so there's the same excess each side. And then we're going to turn it to the other side and fold that back. And then I'm just going to take it and start stitching down here. So as I say, reverse on this one, take that clip off, and then I can just fold that back, fold again. So just creasing those edges, bring them forward, just press out that seam there, flip it over and fold these edges up to that edge, and then fold it over onto that seam. So again, we've got that nice neat seam again, and then straight under. You can see my fingers on there, pins if you like, whatever is your preference. I'm just going to hold my fingers on there. So I've got a second neat seam down here. Clip that little bit of thread. We know it's all nice and secure. And there. So we haven't quite finished because we have got the top of the bag to do now here. So we can take that off. We can actually undo the zip to turn this to the right side. So let's just turn that, push those corners out like so. Okay. So there we have got, so there is our, let's pop that just there. So there is our little pouch. I've left the zip pull on this end for the time being, because what we want to do first of all, we want to, let's just have a look. Let's see what it tells me in there. Oh, that's the wrong one there. So we can either, we need to make a little handle. There it is. And we also need to make a little cap. I think I've got all my things in the wrong order. Oh, there's that one there. So, turn that the wrong way. Just at the bottom, there we are. So, yes, the first thing we're going to do is at that top edge, we are going to, I've taken the clips off already. We're going to make sure this is in the centre. So what we can do is just pull while the zip is there, pull that like there, clip just here. In the instructions I've just said centre it. But now that we have that little notch there, I'm going to line that up with the zip and also line these top edges. Now I know that that is central. So let us just pop that there and that there. So we do need to, at this point, so I know that's in the centre, I'm going to undo the zip now, and then I'm going to just stitch across the zip area. So I'm only going to stitch on the tape. So 1/4 of an inch in from here to hold that little bit together. Okay, so we'll flatten that down and pop it under here. I can take that off while I'm holding it, but I am only, let's just see that that's all lined up. I'm just stitching on the zip. So I'm going to reverse at that beginning bit there and just to there. So you can see I've got an open bit there, open bit here, but the zip is stitched to the back, so that's held. So I can now clip off my zip like this, clip that off, and then we are going to push this out a bit here. I'm going to push this in towards the zip. And so the easiest way of doing that is to pull it like that. So it's half and half. And then push into there and fold those back down. Okay, can you see how I've done that? So let's just start that again. So that's how your top is on both sides. So if I just put my fingers in there, we're basically finding the centre here, and we want it to go where we started stitching. So if you see it like that, that should be half this side and half here. So just push that in, and that should line up beautifully. So once you've done that, you can clip that on there. Then at the other side, we'll do the same. So you can either mark that and push it to the zip, or if you put your fingers in and flatten it there, and now you see that's not quite even, so let's move it a little bit so that it is, because that's it. We want those two bits to be even. So oh dear, absolutely typical. Let's pop that on there. So there you can see the shape of our bag coming, can't you? So it looks like a milk carton, to be honest. Now what we want this to be is 3 inches across there. 1, 2, 3, perfect. So you want that to measure on the small one 3 inches, and on the larger one you want it to be 4 inches, which I put, yes, that's right. So we need to cut a bit of fabric that is from your 4-inch strip that is 3.5. Sorry, can you recap the zip? Oh, just finished a memory bear, not read, recap the zip. Oh, sorry, where did we mean recap the zip? I didn't see that. Can I recap the zip? Are you sure? The zip for cutting or the zip for just stitching across the top? So what I did, spot on, well done. All I did was made sure my zip was in the middle of that part. So let's have a look. Let's take this one here. So I made sure my zip was in the middle. Forget about the bottom of this. And then I pulled the zip down because otherwise we won't be able to open it. And then I stitched just across the zip tape at the top. So I stitched just across there so that that was still open. And then I just pushed those sides in, better than that, at each side like that. And we've ended up with this like this. Okay, 3 inches, 3 inches, brilliant. I think it's coming up cup of tea time. We're not quite there, but we are going to be. So what we need now, not that little bit. So from your 4-inch strip, oh, that's 4, not that one. From your 4-inch strip, you are going to need a 6-inch, so this is the 4, so this is a 6-inch bit for our handle, and we want a 3, oh no, that's 4, I want 3.5 inch, that's wrong, 3.5, no, that's it, that's 4 inches, that's right. And then I want a 3.5 inch bit, which is going to fit over here. Okay, so this is where I'm just going to get my little iron, and let's just pop this over here. I've read unpicker. Guess who forgot to put the zip pull down? Oh dear, it happens. And I won't say 3 inches, fantastic. So I won't say I've never done that before, because I absolutely have. Absolutely. So let me just flick my iron on, because all I'm going to do is iron, because we've got two little things to do. So we at the same time we will make the handle, and we will do the little top. So what we're going to do, we're going to make this bit, and we're going to make the handle as well. And this is similar to making the handle, but slightly different. So we'll do both of those at the same time. So if let's see if I can just take that down to the pressing board. See if you can see. So there is my 6. And, whoops. Oh, I flicked it up. Oh, what have I done? Hang on. Are we back down again? That's better. I pressed something, didn't I? You were seeing the ceiling. Right. So there we have our bits. So let's do, first of all, I think my iron's ready. So here is my 6-inch length. Just like making a bag handle, you would know exactly what to do. Fold it in half. Give it a press. Oh, line it up if you can. That's it. So line that up. Then open out, raw edge to the centre. Actually, I think, yeah, we'll have this handle here. You could, if you wanted to make a narrower handle, do a 3-inch strip, because I'm just looking at the size of this now, and I think it will be wide, but it doesn't matter. So let me just pick that up. Oh no, that's fine. So having pressed the other raw edge to the centre crease and press, and then we would close it up, fold it in half again, and press that so that the raw edges meet. So that is our handle, and we're going to stitch down each side, and I might do a couple of rows up the middle as well. Now with the piece that goes on the top, similarly, so this one for the small one is 4 inches wide because it's from the width of fabric, the 4-inch width. What's the measurements of the handle? So with the little one, they're 6 inches. I've done 6 inches for the handle, whether it's big or small. But if you want to put a longer handle, just make it a little bit longer. So this part that I'm just going to press now is for the little cap that fits over the top. So this is the little bit to neaten off the edge. Okay, so that is going to be 4 inches wide, but you're going to cut it 3.5 inches long. So that's where you can see. So what we're going to do is fold this in half, just like we did before, like that. And then we are going to open it up and fold that in. And press, and we will fold this one in and press. But instead of, we're not going to do that, we're going to fold it back. Okay, we're going to fold it back, so at the side it will look like that, and we're going to stitch down these sides. So I'll just show you that once again, because it is just, the first part is the same in that we folded it in half, open it out and fold the edges to the middle. And then we are going to, if you pick that up, and we're going to fold it outwards. Normally you would go together. This time we're going to leave the raw edges out. And then, oh, lovely. Lovely, Wendy. Okay, so I'm going to put little clips so that we know where we are stitching. We're going to stitch down that short end, and we're going to stitch down the other short end as well. Okay, so that is just turning that off. So we'll go back to the sewing machine now, and what we're going to do is we're going to stitch down this short end 1/4 inch. So we will reverse back, down and reverse at the bottom, and then the same here. If you start from the folded edge, that is good. Reverse, down to the bottom, reverse. There we are. So what we have now is like a little boat with raw edges there. If we clip that part of the corner and we clip that part and that, so we just clipped off those little corners there. Okay, and then we're going to turn it. So poke that open, put your fingers in and tuck that, turn it out. So your raw edges are in there, but not around here. So I'm very carefully just going to push that out. Now by clipping those corners, look how neat that looks. Really does look quite neat. Okay, so we're going to leave that for a minute because we are just going to stitch our handle. There we go. So I always stitch at this side first. Right, how are we doing? How are we doing? That's right. So I've done that first little bit. I whizzed on a bit too quick there, didn't I? So that is for our top. And then all I'm going to do now is to stitch down this edge. I might turn my length of stitch up to 3 so that we're ready for the next part in a moment. So I'm just going down edge. And rather than cutting my thread, I quite often, just go back a little one stitch there, I quite often just go around the corner. Okay, so I'm going to go down the middle on this as well. So I'm just going to hold the, just to add another line of stitching. So that is going to be my ornate handle. So you can do your handle as long or as short as you like. Doesn't have to be 6 inches, but it's sort of fitted in with the length of fabric as well. So for the fabric is 4.5 for the large one, because it should be 4 inches. Here's this one here. Yeah. So here is my large one. That should measure 4 inches, but you cut your fabric at 4.5 inches by 4. Actually, it's a little bit longer. So 4.5 inches by 4, or this cap, this top band is a little bit smaller. I probably use a 3-inch width of fabric there, but the 4 will still look as good. So with the larger ones, it needs to be, when you fold those sides in, it needs to measure 4 inches. So you do need to cut a 4.5 inch wide piece, which could be 4 inches wide, or it could be 3, and it just makes that cap a little bit narrower. Okay, so are we ready for the next little bit? So this is the handle, and this handle is a little bit bigger. So the zip is at the front. The zip is at the front. So I'm going to attach the handle at the back. So I'm going to make sure it doesn't twist, and I'm just going to align that. I can take that off now. Well, I haven't stitched it yet, but I'm just going to take it off and put my clips back on, just holding those, there we are, holding those in place. So I can see that's just going to go in a little bit more. There we are. Oh, they're touching each other, that's all right. So I have just attached, still keeping my folds there, because we'll need to stitch across there in a moment just to hold it. But I've also put my handle, so I've attached it to the back, and then that's just going to come up a little bit higher. So for the moment, before I put the cap, the little cap is going to go over the top. I'm just going to stitch across here at about 1/8 of an inch in from the edge, not 1/4 of an inch, just 1/8 of an inch to hold it. So I'm just going to, and I'll do a stitch a little bit longer than 3.5, because it's like a basting stitch. So just make sure your handle isn't twisted, but it's just easier to work with. So I'll wait till you catch up with me there. But all I've done is done a stitch across there, or a row of stitching for that seam, just to have that nice, and I've got no pins in there then, and then I can just work on the next bit. Because what's going to happen after that is the little cap is going to fit over here. So let's just pop that in. There we go. So I've just popped that over the top, which means we are nearly finished, but we're not quite. So how are we? Have we stitched across the top? Are we nearly there? Let's have some thumbs if you are. So there we have those bits already. Oh, let's tuck that down a bit, that's better. That still looks nicely. That's it. Rena's ready, lovely. So that's the stage we're at the minute. That we've got the zip is in there. I've got the handle just attached to the back. Lovely. And it actually, because it's wide, so with the handle we started off with a 4-inch width of fabric. I actually think it would be quite good, lovely Isabel, to have 3 inches wide. It would just make it a little bit narrower. Okay, so that's fine, absolutely fine. There we go. Okay. Okay, it's only the last little bit now anyway. So with your cap, what we're going to do is, there are the raw edges inside, which you can't see, and we're just going to slot this on. It should fit nice and snugly. You'll know if it doesn't fit at all, but I'm just popping that over the top. Now I haven't got it going the whole way up, because I do want that little bit, there we are, there we go. So I don't want to take a lot of the handle into it. So it's about a quarter of an inch up from there. So it makes it a little bit higher. So having just tucked that in to about halfway, I'm going to pop a clip at each side, make sure that's nice and straight. Okay, and then I'm going to stitch across this bottom edge. I'm going to leave, okay, I'm going to leave the handle. You've unpicked your, oh, well, it didn't matter, Jill, it didn't matter. I'm going to stitch across this bottom edge. I'll stitch from the front. I always think it's good to stitch from the front. And I'm going to leave this handle down. So I'm going to go across the front at the bottom, then I'm coming up this side. Now, if you then want to bring your handle up so that you stitch through here as well, you can. I chose to leave mine down because I think it looks quite nice like that, but it can hang if you want it to. So I'm just going to pop that under the machine, and I will actually start, I'm going to start just in from the edge because I never like to start at a corner. So let's just see. Okay, so I'm going to take that off, and so just see how, I mean, we've got quite a thickness here, so just see how your machine works with it. Oh, that's going quite well. So just go a little bit more slowly because you've got a few layers there. Okay, so that's right to that edge. Then I'm going to pivot around, and I'm going to go up that side, and then I'm going to pivot around, and I'm going to go along the top. Okay, so that's just going along that top edge, and then I'm coming back down the side, and I get to that bottom edge, and then back around to meet where I started. And if you wanted to go again across the centre there, you can. That's it. Just clip those threads. Okay, so then that gives you a nice top all the way around on the top and the back. Okay, but as I say, you could, if you wanted to, when you come along the top, you could have stitched that up, but I decided I wouldn't be doing that. But the choice is there. Oh, Marilyn's unpicking, you sewn the handle on wrong. Okay, that's all right. I'm glad you're enjoying those. That's it. It's quite good fun, isn't it? And, you know, I'm showing you and I'm stitching, and you're taking it all in as we do. And it's going really, really well. Okay, so that is 2 projects made just like that, which I think is pretty awesome. Well done, everybody. So I think what we'll do now, so that some of you can catch up, we'll give it 10 minutes. It will be 3:45. So So let's just synchronize. Yeah, it's not quite 10 minutes, 15:36, 8 minutes. Shall we have an 8-minute break? You'll think I'm a chocolate orange. Yes, I think you're right. I think a chocolate orange will fit in it. Okay. So there's the two, just to show you the narrower top and the bigger top there. Okay. So I'll leave you 8 minutes. We'll be back at 15:45. Okay. That's all right, Karen, no problem. And we'll be back to do the next one, which will be the boxy pouch with handle. Oh, I think you'll like this one. So the next one we're going to do, oh, I'll leave those there, but the next one we'll do is the boxy pouch with handle. So I'll be back shortly. Right, I'm back. I'm back. Lovely, lovely. Are we there? A few thumbs up to see we're there, and we'll be ready for the next one. I really drank my coffee very, very quickly. Jolly good. Oh, you're dancing, Jill. That is great. So the next one we are going to make. Let me get to my... I do know exactly what we're doing, but as I say, I've been... Oh, there we are. There is that. That. Okay. We're ready. Okay, let us make... I'm doing the small version again, but here is the big version of the boxy with a handle. A great wash bag, a great pencil case, makeup bag, English paper piecing, sewing bag, a collectible for anything. So, with the nice handle in the top, how do we get that in there? Here's the zip. So we've got the handle to pull on to open the zip, and then put it straight back up again. And it sits like that. Excellent. Right. So we're going to do the same thing again. So I want to find my centre point of the small one, because we are going to fold it in half just like we did before. If you've got the large one, if you're making with the large one, it's going to complete, and you've got your coffee. I've drank my coffee, Trisha. Oh, jolly good. You've caught up now. Fantastic. Right. So all I've done, I've got my coil of the zip one side and the halfway point at this side. If you've got the big one, your seam will be your centre point. So I am just going to make little nick that side, and then little nick this side, little clip. There I have got that little mark to show me where the centre is. So we're going to turn to the wrong side again. So easiest to open the zip a little bit, turn it through like so, because you'd evened all your layers up anyway. So just by turning it through, they're still in the right place. So I'll turn it this way, and again, just line up my zip, lovely, with the centre, that little notch that I've made. Make sure that's it, they are all lined up there. And then the same at the other end. I've got my little notch onto the zip, and we'll pop a clip there to hold it as well, and a clip there. Now this is is very, very like the very first one we made. Let's just, right, so we've got that nice and flat. We've got the lining fabric showing. What we do need to do is pop our zip. Make sure we're going to open up our zip pull. I could have done that before. So let's open that, pull it down to about halfway, like so. And then I'm going to put my clip back on, just holding the zip together in the centre. So make sure your zip is open here. And then the first thing we're going to do is stitch along the top edge and the bottom. So let's take that little bit off now. 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I have been reversing at the beginning. You don't need to, but it's just a little belts and braces thing. So going over where the zip is, and reverse there. Swivel to the bottom, and we'll do exactly the same on the bottom edge. Okay, and take that out, bring that across. Okay, So that's all we need to do. Now at this point we can clip those, making sure your zip is open. Won't let you forget that. And then we can trim away that bit of our zip, the bottom end, and we can trim away that top edge as well. Just neaten that all off so that's pretty straight. There we go. So we've got a nice, what looks like a nice little pouch already. Okay, so far. And then we're going to do another little bit of measuring. So for your large ones, if you cut 1.5 inch squares, or draw your 1.5 inch squares first of all, and for the small one I'm going to do 1 inch squares. So ruler, where have I put a ruler? There it is. There's my ruler. Where have I put pen? There it is. So again, 1.5. Right, so small ones 1 inch, lining up your 1 inch with that stitched line. You notice how all my when I did my cutout corners, they all lined up beautifully, and that's because I took into the allowance this, forget about the seam allowance here, we need to go from the stitched line for our measurement. So never to the raw edge, always from that stitched line. So the small bag we are doing 1 inch, and for the large one we are doing 1.5. Okay, there is my stitched line, and there is my stitched line, and there's my fold. Now we're going to cut them out. So as I said, it's going to look exactly like our boxy pouch right at the beginning. Okay, so one cut out and two cut out almost. There's that one, and three cut out. And the last one. There we go. So there is our piece. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now they look like rectangles, but because we took into account, forget the seam allowance, and then that will be either a 1.5 inch square for the big ones or a 1 inch for the small. Oh, that's come undone. So next part. Now this is where we need to just have a look. Just have a look. Here is our zip pull, which is going up to the top. So ignore that. We want to work at the bottom. So below the zip, we're working on these corners. The first thing we need to do is to bind along this edge. You know what to do with that. We'll get our 1.5 inch strip. We will pop that. It's going to be exactly the same length as the width of our bottom edge there. So just the same, because we're having raw edges, it doesn't matter at that end. So again, we're just going to stitch across there, 1/4 inch seam allowance. Stitch across, and we're on the bottom edge. We are below the zip pull. So I've stitched across there. I'm going to pull that down. I'm going to finger press away there, flip it over, turn the raw edge up to the edge of our pouch, and flip it up again so that it covers all those raw edges. And then I'm going to stitch 1/4 inch along there. So away we go. So I'm always lining up the side of my foot with the bottom edge of our binding piece, because that way, if we did a wider seam, we would be taking away from the size of our pouch, but this way it will be roughly on top of our original stitch seam. So number one. Number two, we're going to bind these boxy corners. So again, and you've done all of this before twice now, and this will be the third time. So finger in the cutout, let's just pull that, and then out to those corners, and that lines up beautifully. So we can pop our clip where that seam is that's coming in, and we'll put another one just around there to hold it while we get our piece together. And we could do the same on the other side while we're doing that one, because your finger is in the corner and that folds really, really nicely, and it means that that bound seam we've already done is facing down, so away from the zip, and we've got that one ready as well. So we just need another little bit. Now this time we need our binding strips to be a little bit longer, because we're going to fold those back. Let's just see. Perfect. So I'm just cutting my one piece of fabric in half, because I know that that will be just fine. So again, I'll pop it to the back so that you can see a little bit of excess fabric at each side, and then we can just pop that clip on there, and that holds it in place. So we're going to flip that over, and I'm going to fold that edge back to the edge. There we are. So that's to the edge of our point of that bound seam, and you can see that there, that's it. And then we'll reverse just there, and when I can feel that that seam, all those raw edges are together, I can fold that next bit back and across. Okay, so there is our bound piece. I'm going to flip it over, and then we will fold these up and fold it over again. And again, we can just pop a clip on there to hold it, and a clip on there to hold it. So there's our next seam, and here's our next one up here. So again, let's just put our piece of fabric behind so it's roughly centered. Pop that clip again over there and there just to hold it, and then we can turn it over, fold that piece back. That's it. So that's lined up with that edge, and we can go over to the machine and start stitching there. I'll take those two clips off, making sure all those raw edges are still aligned, and we will go straight across there. So there's our second bound edge. Push those sides, flip it back, and turn it into the edge of our seam there, of our raw edge, and then I'll just hold this one, and I'm just going to stitch across there just like we have on all those last occasions. So reverse there. Your bobbin's got a tangle. Oh dear, Carolyn. It's annoying when you don't want it to. Okay, so there's one, and here's two. So I've just flipped it around to the other side, and we'll just reverse off there. Okay, nice and neat. And if you remember what these bound seams do is they help to give the pouch a good shape. So I'm just, and also it's a nice nice pretty edging inside the bag. If a friend who receives or a customer receives can look in and think, oh, that is so nice. Okay. Right, so our box looks a little bit like a jacket, doesn't it? Here are the armholes. I'm going to wait till everybody's done that last step, and then we will move on to the next little bit. So we're going to leave it this way round to start at the moment, because there's only a little bit more to do with this one, but nice and easy. And what you'll find is, I suppose it is quite repetitive, but it gets you used to doing the same things. Oh, you just got back, Karen. Oh, good. He should have made you a cuppa, shouldn't he? I walked out there and Martin said to me, oh, would you like me to make it? I just said, yes, please. Never mind, perhaps he'll get your dinner ready for you. So, how are we? Shall we have a few thumbs up if you're ready for the next step? Or we can wait just a few more minutes, because I'm sure you are nearly at this point. Lovely, lovely. So the next thing we are going to do is actually something we've done previously, and that is we are going to make another handle. He's been good today. Oh, that's it. It's worth it then. Yes. I suppose really to have, because we've had a couple of hours already, haven't we? And to have a couple of hours of doing what you want to do. Oh no, Shirley. Yeah, you've run out. I did actually wind myself a whole bobbin because I thought I'm going to start with a full one. I've got another one that I can just switch if need be. But it's surprising how much you do. Okay, next step. I'm just going to move that out the way. We need another 6-inch by 4-inch strip of fabric, because we're going to make a handle. Right, so okay, that's it, you sit just there. So I'm just going to put the iron on again. There is the iron. Here is the, there we go. There is our handle. So it is 4 inches wide. So we're going to make a handle. So what we're going to do is fold it in half with the wrong sides together. Okay, wrong sides together, folded in half and pressed. And open it out, pop that raw edge to that centre crease, pop the other raw edge to the centre crease. We don't want them to overlap, we just want them to butt up to each other. Okay, and then we're going to fold it in half again, just like we do when we're making our bag handles. Okay, so having done that, now that's how I normally make the handle. However, if you wanted it to make it just that little bit more firm, what you can do is add a piece, let me just see, a piece of fusible fleece just to go up the middle. So I'll just grab myself, if you wanted to make it a little bit firmer, I've just grabbed a bit of fusible fleece. This is 1 inch wide. The fusible fleece I usually do at around 7/8 to 3/4, so just a little bit narrower. So if you're going to make a more robust handle, you can pop this in. This is only just to show what you could do, but you don't have to, as I had got it sitting there. And then so you open it up, slot it in, and I'm going to turn that over because the adhesive was on that other side. I'm just going to iron that again. So one of my bags I haven't and one I have. Okay, so that will do nicely for that. So I have my bag handle there. So now I'm just going to stitch So my handle again is just 6 inches. You can do it as long as you like. Your back's complaining. Okay, yeah. No, we should. That's why we should get up a little bit more often than every 2 hours. Oh, what's that one? That's it. Okay. Usually just needs a rest. Oh, just have a rest. You can. All of the rest of it is very, very similar. Oh, okay, no problem. Oh, you got your zips. Fabulous. Oh, you'll be able to crack on then, won't you? Okay, so I've got my little handle. As I say, the ones I've used are 6 inches. If you want to make it a little bit longer, absolutely up to you. It depends what you're going to use it on. So actually this time I usually do an 8 of an inch in from the edge, but I'm going to do a little bit. I'm doing a 1/4 of an inch in from the edge this time. And I'm going to come back down the other side. And then I'm going to go up the middle. So decorative stitching is always really good. If you fancy doing, I mean, I've got too much of a patterned fabric, I think, but if you want to do a decorative stitch, and I'm using a straight stitch machine, which obviously I can't do a decorative stitch, but I've just done 3 rows of stitching there just to make it a little bit different. Okay, so if we get, I'll bring this back in. So it's how we get this handle. On my big one, it might have been a little bit longer than 6 inches, but you can probably see from there, we get it in the seam. We get the handle into that seam. So that is why we only worked on the bottom. So we've bound our edges at the bottom. And Carol's back, lovely. So with our bag handle, which is only what this is, and you've made these many a time before, all we're going to do is we are going to slot in one hole and out the other side. Okay, there we are. Simple as that. We don't want to twist in the middle. Can you see how that is nice and flat there? So what we're going to do while that is in there, we are going to open this cutout corner up. No, we're not. What I've forgotten to do. We need to bind this edge here. There we are, nearly forgot. So we don't need to use an extra long piece. We do need to bind this first. Knew it didn't look right. Okay, so let's get our strip of fabric, which is just our 1.5 inches wide. Just cut that piece. Okay, and let's pop it onto that edge. Just line that up, stitch across here. Okay, pull it down. So whenever if there's a raw edge when you're about to do the cutout corners, you know that needs to be sorted out first of all. So all I've done was fold the raw edge into the edge of the pouch and then over that edge again, and we're just going to stitch across here. So that's nice and neat. Now I can see that's a little bit too long there, so I'm just going to trim that bit off. That's no problem at all. So I've bound my edge now. So just to reverse a step, we're now going to slot our handle into that hole and out the other side. Okay, so let's work with this side first of all, and we'll pop our finger in there and in the other side, and we can see again that the bound edge is away from the zip, so that is holding nicely. And then you want to center the handle. Okay, so I'm looking at that center there, I'm looking at where that seam is, and that's what I'm looking at. So there is my handle right over the seam. So again, I wouldn't skip this part by, there we are, just pulling that up. And then I'm going to stitch across here just to hold it before we go any further. We do have to bind it, but let's just stitch across here. We could do 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch, but no more. Whoops, that's better. Okay, so I just secured that, and then this side here, you can check inside that it's straight. We're going to do exactly the same with this side as well. So open out your cutout corner like that. Poke this down a little bit because obviously it is longer than the gap. You can see that we are centering that. So I've centered my, so what I might do while I'm, hold that, so hold the handle in place, and then you can then pull your, oh that's it, just pull it out a bit, the cutout corner into place. It makes it easier if you're already, Sue's here, hello Sue, there we go. And then, so that one is ready. So now I'm going to do exactly what I did the other side and stitch across there just to hold it. So just flatten that down, just to hold the handle in place before we actually bind it. Okay, so there we have, that handle is inside there. I've got a thread there, but that doesn't matter for the minute. So let's just trim those little bits away there. If you want to make longer handles, absolutely do. It doesn't have to be 6 inches. As I say, it can be whatever you want it to be. So now we're going to bind these two edges. Now, if you remember, we need it to be that little bit longer than the edge because it's a cutout corner. So I'm just going to trim that. So that looks big enough there. And I've got 2 to do. So I'm going to cut 2 at the same time. Whoops, let's just hold that and just trim. Okay, so I've got my 2 pieces of fabric there, and I'm going to pop that behind, have the excess at each side, and I'll pop that clip on there, and then I'll flip it over so that I can fold that piece back to the edge of that point, and then I'm going to stitch across there to do our binding, which by now I think you all know how to do. Okay, so this time I am doing 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. I've noticed that myself. I think to myself, goodness, I keep using clips. I think it was because when I made, let me have a look, this one here. Do you remember this one? I think the double holder. I mean, they were all in here. I put all my clips in here, and it was just easy to get to them. And that's why I started using them. I think I've done a little video on this little thing. It's not very robust, but I keep all my binding clips in this tiny little holder. And I tell you what happens when I use a pin, I guarantee I stick it in my finger. And I don't just allow it to go into my finger, I drag it so that it cuts my finger as well. So yes, I do, and I'm really quite loving binding clips. Okay, even in the instructions you'll see I write clips stroke pins. My binding is 1.5 inches. You could get away with 1 1/4, but all of these I've cut are 1.5. So having pulled that to the back, again, fold it up to the edge, and you see there's more than enough fabric to, what you're trying to do is cover up that stitching from the previous row. So as I say, you can pop your clips on here, but the seam is so small, I just hold my fingers down on it just to hold it together, and then we'll just stitch across here reversing at the start and the end of my stitching, just so that it doesn't come undone at all. Right, there's a little bit and that little bit of thread, and I've just got one more edge to do, which is this one here. So I'm going to do exactly the same again. Pop that behind so that I can see the excess fabric at each side. Clip in the middle, flip it around so that I can see how much I need to turn back. So I'm still lining up that raw edge there, and then I know that goes to there. I'll put it under the machine now so that when I get to the machine I can turn that bit back on the other side. So we can flatten that down and start stitching across here. So as I say, always reverse, and then now I can see here I can fold that piece back and reverse at the end there. So seam roller or nail, just press those, crease those back, and then we can pull that away. Just nail or seam roller along there, flip it over and fold it to that seam edge, because all we're thinking about doing is covering over those raw edges. And there is another seam that is just about to be stitched. So fingers on there and reverse and over we go, and reverse at the end again. Right, there's my bit of thread. Now it's drum roll time. Okay, so still quite neat from this side, still quite neat. So let's pull our fingers out there into the corners, pushing that binding out to the corners, pushing that through, pushing that through, and pushing that through. So there we go. Nice neat bottom. We can pull that up and up. Oh, I've got a little bit of thread there. So this was the dinky one. This was the one piece of fabric, 10 by 7, or the bigger one, we used 2 pieces that were 10 by 7. There we are. Just bring that up. And there is our number 3. How are we doing? How are we doing? 1, 2, 3. So, all done. Well done, Sue. All done. Fantastic, I think. So we have still got, I did overestimate or underestimate the amount of time it would take. Well done, Gita. Well done. I think what we'll do for the next 2, because they are, let's just have a look, which one we're doing, that one and that one. They are very similar, and I think what we will do is get to a point where we'll do all the basics, but when it comes to just the end bit of neatening seams, I'll leave the binding out. It would be great for clips, wouldn't it? It absolutely would. But it is quite dinky and quite cute. I like it very much. Indeed I do. Let's have a look. How's everybody else doing? Let's see, have we got a majority of thumbs ups of nearly done? Oh, with the pleated ends, that's what we'll do. So the pleated ends one. So that one is quite, yep. So we'll do the pleated ends one for the next one. So that is this one. Oh, there's Kim. Hello, Kim. Right. So this one has got pleated ends. Have I got another one here? And that one there. So how do you get those pleated ends? How do we get those pleated ends? Just makes it a little bit more interesting as opposed to the ones with just a straight seam going across the back of it. Kathleen's done. Lovely. So are we ready to move on to the next one, which will be this one? Shall we have a show of thumbs or hearts to see if we're ready, or shall we give it another couple of minutes? Da-dee-da-dee-da. Oh yes, thumbs and hearts. Oh, lovely. Oh, lovely. Okay, that looks as though we're ready to move on to the next one. Okay. Let's see, let's do it with this one because I haven't got one like this. So I did happen to use the same fabric. Go for it. Okay, we will go for it. Now let's have a look. That's it. So pleated ends. Right, so what I'm going to do this time, again, I am going to find, so with the small ones, I need to find the centre. As you know, because this bit is one piece of fabric, I can't sort of guess, well, I would guess, but probably wrongly, where the centre is. So I'm going to make that little notch in the edge there, and then at the other end as well. So coil right at the edge, and then fabric fold there, little clip. Again, we'll turn it to the wrong side, like so. Okay, and we will, oh, got a little bit of discrepancy there, that's all right. So from this side, I can see there is my notch. I'm just going to pull that lining. Make sure all your lining is all lined up with the outer fabric along the edge. So this is my bottom end here. So let's just line that up nicely, and we can put a clip or two along here just to keep that in place. So I'm just pulling that up to get those edges lining up. There it is. Okay, so that is my bottom end. This end here, we're going to line that up, but I do need my zip pull to be open. So let's just line that notch with the zip, which is there. Okay, and let's pop a clip on here so I know that's lined up, but now I need to open my zip. So let's open. It never harms to open up your zip, and then if I flip it to that side, I can then make sure that the zip meets. So there we go. So what we're going to do this time, again, like a similar one, we are just going to stitch across the zip tape. So we'll take that to the machine. This one is quite quick actually. So let's take it to the machine. I'm not going on, so where are we? So I am only on the zip tape. So I'm going to reverse near the beginning, and I'm going to reverse, so just the zip tape, just to hold that completely together, and make sure your zip pull is open. And then down to the other end, I didn't do that very well, there we are. I'm going to just where our zip is, so just the zip tape, just reverse at the beginning, reverse back. Okay, so there we are. So just across where the zip tape is, and then I'm just going to trim that off. It's taking, I keep thinking, am I doing something wrong? Because 5 different projects, one after the other, all quite similar. So I'm just doing that in there. Okay. Right, now the next thing we're going to do, so we've got our, quite similar to before but not the same. We've only got stitching, we've got these little bits, haven't we? Like that. So now what we're going to do, you can either clip here or, let's see, I've got any pins. Oh, there we are. There's a pin. Right, so what I've said before, what you can do, which is another way of doing it, we're needing, I put a pin right in the very end of the fold there. I want that fabric, or just that area, that point, to go towards the zip. So if we open up that little pocket and flatten that out and put that pin right where, whoops, a bit far away, hang on. Right, so I have that pin right near the zip, and then I can fold that over. Oh, it works. Okay, so we'll do that. I'm going to put the clip there. Right, so that was with a pin. The other thing I did earlier, I put my finger in there, opened it up, gauged where that was, and it didn't work. It wasn't even. So it is better to pull that out. So that's right out to the edge. Pop your pin right on that very end. You can see it's right on the end of that fold. Then when you pull this corner apart, after securing, yes, pins, that's right. Yeah, I've got 4 to do exactly the same, Sue. So just all I did after, so I've secured the zip, that's right. So I'm doing it exactly the same. There's each corner. So I found that edge of the fold. Then I'm going to push that in, and that pin is lining up where I stitched the zip to. Won't let me go any further. So if I line the pin up there, then squash it flat, and then that lines up. Okay. Lines up. Pull the pin out. Okay. Let's go down here. So here we are. So stitch the zip across here. I've got this bit here. Flatten it so that I can find the edge. So I'm putting my pin on that very edge. This is just an easy way of doing it. Then open up that hole. There we are. Flatten it and let that pin line up, well, as far as it will go, which is at the edge of the zip. Fold it back over, okay, and pop the clip on there. And then here, do the same. So pull that out, put the pin in that end, open out that little, only goes so far, and then pull that in so that it meets the zip, and flatten it down, and each time those folds should line up with each other. Okay, we can take the pin out now. Let's pop that under there. So what we have is something that looks like that. Okay. Now, to sort of keep up with time, all we need to do now is stitch across here and then bind. So what I'm going to do, because then we'll be able to move on to the next one, I'm just going to stitch across this edge. 1/4 inch seam allowance. So flatten that under there, and I'll reverse at the beginning and the end. So we're going over where the zip's already been stitched. And reverse. So there's that one. This one is really very quick. So straight under, whoops, under there. Let's come in a little bit closer. There we are. So I've popped that under and reverse. And you will find you're going over where we stitched the zip. to the other side and back and reverse. Right, just trim that little bit off there. But then the next bit would just be to bind, just like we've bound all the other edges. And then, so that would just be left to do. Oops, could have opened my zip a little bit further. There we are. So then all we need to do is turn it to the right side. Okay. So turn it out. Turn it out. There we go. And turn that out. Turn that. Just push your fingers into those corners and it will give you that beautiful pleated edge. Okay. So there is your pleated, whoops. So this is where you just need to just push these, just push the fabric, there we go, like that, at each side. And that is all there is to it. Can you see that? With the zip along the top. And there's your pleated, whoops, we're a bit close, aren't we? There we are. There's our pleated corner at that end and our pleated one there. So that one, as I say, is just really straightforward. The only thing that I didn't do there was to bind. So you can easily turn it inside out and afterwards you can just bind those edges and you have another pouch completed just like that. Oh, how simple is that? Okay, how are we doing on that one? Because that one is number 4 with lovely, yes, Karen, nice and quick, but just, you see, it looked really good in plain fabric or stripy fabric even as well, because these sort of pleat bits or the triangular pleats, I think the diagonals, if it was stripy, they'd go at an angle to really show it off, or even a plaid one would, you know, tartan or something like that. So there is that one. So do you think, are we ready for number 5? Aha, jolly good, Shirley. So number 5 is going to be that one or that one. So with tabs, if you want to put tabs, I'll tell you, it is very simple, yes. Actually, it's getting cold in here. Yes, well done, Karen. Okay. So we are ready for this one. Now, you know, as you can probably realise, just the technique, all these different techniques, you can do with whatever size of fabric you like. Yes, you can neaten the edges later. It's just, it's the same every time. And I think you've got the gist after we've done 3 with the same. It's just the order of when you need to bind the edges. Because if you bound all of the cut out corner ones first, it's very hard to get to those other edges. So always do the cut out corner ones last. And if there's any edges that come up in between, you need to do those first of all. Okay, so we'll attack this one then. Number 5, and everybody has done so well. Oh, I've got this bit. Oh, that's good, because I haven't got this one in a... Right, so this is still, I've got the small size, but I've only got it in the bigger size. So what we're going to do here, we are still going to turn it to the wrong side. So I'm going to open my zip and turn it through. Number 5 is the lidded boxy pouch, I think I've called it. Okay, so I've turned it to the wrong side. Let's just smooth that out, make sure all my fabrics are lining up with each other. It's quite good. You can put your hand in there like a warmer. Now what we're going to do this time is, instead of centering our zip, we're going to make it at a distance. So if we imagine this is the top, this is the bottom, we've got a smaller top, a bigger bottom. I know about bigger bottoms, but we won't go any more than that. Right, let me just have a look to see what, can't remember which size I said. So if you're doing the, it does say it in the instructions, if you are doing the small size, as opposed to the large size, the zip is offset for this option, not central. So you move the tube around and flatten when there is about 1.5 inches of fabric from the top and a greater amount below. Okay, so this will then, if you're, there we go. So let's see, so let's get, so what we're looking at having is 1.5 inches, let's have a look here, 1.5 inches, oh that's right, so we're going to have 1.5 inches from the top of the zip to the edge. No, that's a bit too much, so let's just move that so the zip, as I say, is 1.5, which is that. So I'm just going to pop a clip just there, and then I'm going to go to the other side just so that we make sure it is straight. So it's this piece here is a 1.5, and that is going to be whatever the other 1.5, that's good. So that is 1.5 inches also. So we'll put a clip there. So when you look at it, that should look straight, and that should look straight as well. So let me just push that out there, so that's nice, and that's it. And you can always go in with the ruler and pop it along there just to make sure that that is straight. So I'm going along the edge of the zip and looking at the fold and seeing that is even. So 1.5 from the edge of the zip here to the fold, and as I say, that is the top. The bottom part is, let me just measure that, 2.5, something like that. So it just depends whatever size fabric piece you're using to start off with. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to move our zip. We're going to open it. Okay, and do just what we've done before. So I'm just opening that nice and carefully so that I don't move this bit here. And I need to put a clip down here because that's pulling up a bit. There we go. And just make sure that meets and is the same there. So, right, so we've got the top and the bottom. So as we've done before, we are going to stitch along both sides. But if you want to have some tabs, let's see what we have here. A little bit, have I got any tab stuff left? Oh, I think I have. So for tabs, there it is. If you take your, I think it was 4 inches of fabric. So this is like a 4-inch square. That's right. So I'm just going to make small tabs, and all I'm going to do is fold it wrong sides together. I haven't pressed it this time. And then raw edge to the middle, raw edge to the middle. I should have got a seam roller out, shouldn't I? And then push it over, and this is just going to be very small tabs just to go in, but this is just to show you where you would put the tabs and at what point. So I'm just going to stitch as if this were a handle, and I'm just going to stitch down here. So I'm doing a few more stitches just to make it a little bit more to it. Whoops, I didn't mean to go that far. Let's just go back here. So this is just, as I say, just putting an extra row of stitching. Just because it's the same colour. Oh, it isn't actually, is it? It's not the same colour as... it's a different bit that I'm using. So if I were doing tabs, I would just cut myself a piece of a strip of fabric. I would perhaps cut it a little bit longer than 4 inches because I want to make 2, and I'm going to fold it in half. Oh no, that'll be fine. And if I were going to put the tabs in before I do anything else, I would put, let's move that along, my tab is going to go inside here. Okay, halfway. There we go. So my tab has gone inside there. This was not really what I was going to do, as in putting a tab in, but I'm just showing you. So I've folded the tab together. And so then it can go underneath where the zip is. Okay, centrally. And then we'll do our stitching down the sides so we enclose that zip tab. So the tab always goes in before we do that first bit of stitching. Now I'm not going to put that on there because it won't go with the fabric that I'm using. So you could put bits of ribbon rather than making a tab, absolutely fine. Or you can do the lining fabric to go with the outer. But my next step is just to, okay Jane, not a problem. So I'm just going to stitch from this edge all the way up over the zip with a tab in there if you wanted to have a tab in there, which I do think looks quite nice. And then do exactly the same on the other side. Okay, all the way down to the bottom. Okay, so who's still sewing along? You've done so much already. Whoops. I am quite proud of you all, the amount you've done. And it may be that you feel like taking a break now. So I am going to trim off that part of the zip, and also making sure, double check the zip is open, and I'm going to trim that bit off as well. Okay, so I have got my piece. Now, depending on the size, if you're using a much bigger piece of fabric, you might decide to have this top piece further down. I mean, if this was this, you could move this 3 inches down and then have a bigger cutout square. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have, I think in the instructions I'd got a smaller piece at the top. So I think I had a 3/4 of an inch at the top, and excuse me, a 1 inch for the bigger one. That's right. So I've got a smaller one at the top. So of the small, I've got 3/4 of an inch squares cut here and 1 inch at the bottom. But for the bigger ones, you can have a 1 inch square at the top and a 1.5 at the bottom. Now I think because I've done 1.5, I'm actually going to do, just to show you how little things make things look a little bit more different. This time, so this was 3/4 of an inch at the top and 1 inch on the bottom corners. Okay, so as I say, just to make this different, I'm just going to show you. So my original one was that. I am now just to show what difference, and you know, the choice is yours at the end of the day. This is not set in stone what you should do. So this one has got, and having that slightly smaller, it just dips down to the front. Okay, you're watching now. Oh, it happens, doesn't it, Isabel? Okay. So shall I just crack on and show you what to do? I know probably if you were in a face-to-face workshop and you're making one project, I think we all get a bit weary towards the end of the day. But this, as I say, this I will keep sewing, and if you want me to stop, shout. So the instructions say to cut a 3/4 of an inch square at the top on the smaller one, and then at the bottom you cut a 1 inch square, and on the larger one where you've used 2 pieces of fabric, if you cut a 1 inch square at the top and a 1.5 inch in the bottom corners. But what would it look like if you did 1.5 inches at the top and the same at the bottom? You know, you get a variation on how it's going to look. So let's just do this one here. Okay. And what if you offset your zip a little bit further than I have done? So all you see that's different there is this zip is further up than in other projects. So again, we do have raw edges, and we have the cut-out corners. Cut-out corners last. We must finish these off first. So, I've got a little bit here. I've got a little bit of this blue for some reason. Okay, so let us bind these edges first. So I'll cut myself 2 pieces which are the same, and that one's the same, and we can do both those edges. So I have cut that. Only needs to be the same length as the edge of that side. So no, don't stop. All right. Oh, that's fine. No, I won't stop. I won't stop. So I didn't know whether you wanted me to wait for everybody to catch up. I don't know how many people are still sewing along. So no, I'm not going to stop. I thought it should take until about 5. Well, it's 10 to 5, so I'm not going to stop straight away. We'll get these finished. Okay. You'll catch up. Okay, that's fine, Elaine. There we go. Okay. So, who is still sewing along? Because I'll go a bit slower if... Oh, I hope it's all right, Elaine. That's awful. Okay. Yeah, you catch up later. All our love sent to you. You're still sewing? Jolly good, Sue. And Rena's still... Okay, that's fine. So shall I let you get to that point? Hope he's okay. You're just taking your time. Okay, Gita, that's fine. And Jill's still stitching. Lovely. Right, I'm just going to have a bit of water. And Marilyn's still stitching. And Bridget. Oh, lovely. All right. You must have been so engrossed in it. I hadn't seen any comments. I didn't know if you were just thinking, phew, I mean, considering you've already made 4 projects in one afternoon, and this is number 5. Yeah, we all hope he's okay, Lane. That's the best place. He'll get sorted. Okay, Patricia, that's fine. Gin and tonic, yeah. What this is, I don't think so. It's not even vodka and tonic. It's just that good plain old water with whatever the water authorities have put in it. You never know these days. It's like when one is talking for 3 hours, not quite constantly. Okay. So how are we doing? Are we nearly there? Shall I just, having had that little chat, if I just pull this back because we know exactly what we're doing with these bound edges, don't we? So I'm just going to pull that one back, flip it over, and then fold this edge in to the edge of the pouch, and then, oh, Bridget's okay, jolly good, and then fold that over. I'm going to put a clip on there just while I turn the other edge. So let's flip it back and finger press down there, flip it over. You've probably got your bound edges done already. Okay, because that's all we've got left to do, the bound edges. Okay, so I turned that one over, and I'm now just going to stitch down there with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So that's it, just hold that nice and straight. Okay, and then the same at the other end. Just pop that in, and the 1/4 inch all the way along. Okay, so there's our 2 edges there, and the next thing we need to do are all of our cut out corners. So as we've done before, finger in there. I like to actually open the zip up even further now. It allows you to get your fingers into these corners easily. So let's just pull that open, line them up, and there we are. So I tell you what we'll do, just as a little, so all I would do is exactly what we've done before, which is put the binding behind it and then stitch across. But just as a change, nothing radically different, is instead of sewing and putting the binding on at the same time, I must admit I do like, oh, okay, Jeeta, it's happening, isn't it, the needle breaking. What I'm going to do this time, I'm just going to stitch across there, and then so that I've got no clips or anything. So I'm going to use an 1/8 inch. I like not to have clips holding things. So it just means that when I come to put the binding on, there's no clips hanging around there trying to get in the way. So all I've done is just gone straight to the machine, and the seam allowance is a little bit less than a 1/4 inch, but it's just holding them together nicely. And then I'll do the same at this end as well. Tuck your fingers in. I find it easier, that's it. Tuck your fingers in there, pull it open, that goes down. And as I say, because I've got the zip open, it's easy to poke my finger into that corner with because I've got the zip open there, and I can do that again here. So fingers in from that big opening, hold that point and that point, make sure that edge is facing downwards. Wouldn't matter if it was facing up, but it just feels right to be pointing downwards. Okay, so another little bit of stitching just there, just so that we can get rid of these clips, so that that's all together in line, because the last thing we want is some of it's not stitched, because that happens too. Okay, so I've got all my little corners done. Okay, and so while you're doing those little ones, it may be that you are binding as you go, like we've done before. But I say it's just an alternative way. It's not making any difference whatsoever to the finished result. But it's, now you see that little seam there is almost not catching it, but it's just. But I was doing it at an 1/8 inch, not a 1/4 inch, because the 1/4 inch seam allowance will be when I put the binding on. So I don't think this time I have enough. So let's just see how, oh, that will give me 2. Yes, that will just give me 2. So let's just see there, there's 1. And just see if I can do just a little bit more. And then, you know, that would be reasonably okay. So 1.5. If there's no also ruler around, there's a little ruler. That's the little ruler I was looking for. Okay. So I've got 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. I am coming back. Right. 2, 3, 4. So we need 4. 1, 2, 3. Phone's ringing out. Yes. I'm just wondering if. Oh, I'm down to 26. My phone's not too bad. Okay. So, you love that one. Right. Have you opened it up? So what I'm going to do is I'm putting my my binding strip on the back there. I'm going to fold that in. Okay. And then I'm going to stitch along here. Let's move that down. So I'm going to stitch along the bottom here. So this time I am using my 1/4 inch. I'm folding that in at the other end as I get to it. Okay. So 1, 2. We'll do one at a time. So let's just pull that out so that we can flip it over, fold those raw edges in like so, and then I'm going to, okay, Kathleen, if anybody needs to go, it's absolutely fine, because you can always watch this last little bit afterwards at any time you like. But we have had quite a session today. That's all right, Patricia. It is 2 minutes to 5, so it is really coming up time. So for those who want to stay, by all means do. We'll go till I've just finished this one and show you. And then I should think you will all need a good stiff drink, and pat yourselves on the back, because I think you've done amazingly. I know some of you will probably prefer to do this in your own time and in, you know, whenever you feel like doing it, which is absolutely fine. Oh, thank you, Sharon. Oh, well, I'm glad you got inspired again. That's the thing, isn't it? Doing things that you're pleased with, that don't take too much to do, but once you've got the technique, you'll be able to do this again and again, and with any sizes that you would like to do. So if you want something, you know, a little bit bigger, I possibly may not go smaller. Oh, well done, GT, you're back. But you could go smaller. I mean, they are really cute when you go dinky. But thank you for your company this afternoon, and thank you for signing up to the Sewalong again. I've loved having all of your company, and it's always a pleasure and never a chore. I would do this every day of the week if I had the energy, but I enjoy. I've already got another one up my sleeve. Thank you, Patricia. Which I hope, but we won't be doing that for a little while. Usually I do it every other month. October, so I don't know about it being December though. It might have to be in January, but you never know. You never know. We are halfway into October. Oh, you really enjoyed it. Oh, thank you, Jill. I am glad. It's lovely to hear when you've enjoyed. The red wine is breathing. Oh, right. That's a good idea. Oh, yeah, perhaps I do. You finished, Jill. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So I'm just on my very last theme here. Oh, thank you, Jeeta. I'm glad you enjoy. Well, you know, I wouldn't do it if you didn't. Well, I would know if you didn't enjoy, because you wouldn't want to take part, would you? But it's great fun, isn't it? And as I say, you don't have to sew along if you don't want to, or just stop and start when you feel like it. It's a little bit irritating for you if your needle breaks, or, you know, you get this unforeseen thing that happens, and it is just a little bit frustrating, isn't it? But you've all soldiers on, and as I say, I don't think seam rippers have been out that many times. So well done, you all. Oops, that one's gone. Anyway. So, as I say, we are on the very last seam here. I'm just pushing that down, and we'll see what this looks like when it's done. January, yes, it would, wouldn't it? Yes. Oh, thank you, Amanda, and thank you, Jack. You've escaped the chaos. Yes. I'm sure you have. It must be nice just to, but it'll be wonderful when it's all done. Okay. Right, so last little clips of little bits of thread. And here we are. Da-da. Right, let's turn it to the right side and see what this one looks like as well. So push those corners out. Push those corners out. Sounds like an exercise class. Push those corners out. And there we go, nice and dinky. So yes, a little bit different because I did an inch in each corner. But there we are, there is the dinky one. There we go. So let's just, there we go. I like to just crease along that. So there it is. There is the other one, as I say. Oh, very, very similar. It just looks bigger, I think, because it's white. Oh, yes, Susan. Jill's completed the first one whilst watching all and pleased with the rest. And oh, lovely. Oh, good. I'm glad it's been a lovely afternoon, Sandra. And Liz. Susan enjoyed watching for a good afternoon. Oh, well, you will be able to do some of it when you can, won't you? And thank you, Liz. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. Marilyn, you did enjoy it. Jolly good. Yes, a couple of corners. I've got a couple to finish off as well. Painkillers or red wine? Red wine, I think. Yeah. The painkillers. You give me no pain at all. So let's see. Oh, Carol likes all the projects. Jolly good. Oh, look, my hair looks like I've been pulled through a hedge backwards. Oh, right. Jolly good. Yes, I was going to zigzag, wasn't I? And then that's probably why it took a little bit longer. But they do look neat, don't they? Phew. Well done, Bridget. I should think you're very pleased with yourself. Oh, and you too, Virginia. Well done. You finished. Well done. Well done. Thank you so much. I was just trying to get together the ones that I have made. Let me have a look. There was that one. Oh, goodness, yes. 1, 2, 3. I didn't do that one, but I did do this one. So, yes, this is what you will all have, won't you? Thank you, Marilyn and Shirley. Did I miss somebody there? Oh, and Susan. Okay. Susan, I need to send you... Yes, I will indeed. And Rena's done all 5. Fantastic. So this was what we did. Be easier to stand up. 1, 2. That's the one I just done now. 3, 4, 5. Oh, I knew I wouldn't be able to do it all, would I? Perhaps I could put them on a ruler. That would be a better idea, wouldn't it? 1. Oh, they can still manage to fall off, I suppose. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Thank you, Isabel. So that's what I'm going to do for Christmas one. Yes, Jack. I mean, that's pretty good in one afternoon, isn't it? 3 hours. Okay, we had the basics ready, but just think. Thank you, Jill. You know, if you've got a craft fair coming up, do some of the easiest ones first. And you could get quite, and along with all those purses and pouches that we've done of late. But yeah, looks really good. Well done. You've just got the last piece of binding to finish. Jolly good, Sue. You've done amazingly. Absolutely. Yes, it's on its way. It is. That's Royal Mail for you. I did post them separately on the same day, so it is in the post. I don't know if Jack's got hers as well, because there was 2. I'll tell you what was happening. Jack had got another order just like you had, and I thought I'll put them all in together. And so I think I sent them first, and no, I don't think they went together. I think that went before your haberdashery sale parcel. Thank you, Jeeta. And thank you, Marilyn. Right. The majority of you have stayed here all afternoon, which is amazing. Thank you so much. We haven't done too badly. Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. But yeah, because when I read it, I thought, oh, I know I've sent it. I know I have. And as I say, that's why it rang a bell, because I knew that I've got the 2 sitting there. Oh, you haven't got yours. Oh, that's all right. Yes, Jack. Absolutely, of course. Yeah, they both definitely have gone. They would be, yeah, they've both gone. Perhaps they didn't go till Friday then. No, I posted them before. I posted them before the thrifty haberdashery sale ones went out. Yes, great for confidence building to tackle on your own. Jolly good, yes, absolutely. I think you've all done amazingly well. So thank you very, very much. I am ready for another cuppa now, which I'm sure you are too. I might even have a mince pie. I popped out shopping yesterday and there were mince pies, so I thought, why not? So, well, it's the next event of the year, isn't it, really? Apart from Sew with Trisha on Tuesday. Anyhow, we won't go down that lane at the moment. I'll put the menu up very, very shortly. But thank you so much for joining the 3rd Sewalong, which is just wonderful that you've enjoyed it as much as I have, and I hope you'll come back for more. So enjoy the rest of your day. It is Sunday, and look forward to next week. And as I say, thank you for joining me. And a custard tart. Oh, that sounds good too. So take care of yourselves, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.